All right, let's do this video. Again, this is stuff I've pulled from the author, so Wesley Crawford. Professor Crawford did a great job putting this book together, as far as my opinion goes. But anyways, there's the reference. We're on pages 4-8 to 4-14. It's the Construction Surveying and Layout, a Field Engineering Methods Manual. Third edition, 2003. So Professor Crawford went through and put all these steps in. So when you're chaining, he's basically told you what to look for. Okay, so let's play along with this video or play along with his notes. Okay, so rear chain, head chain. Step one: locate the beginning point with a range pole or lath. A lath, by the way, is a piece of wood that's a 1/4 inch thick and about 1.5 to 2 inches wide. And with that, you can put on some flagging, but we'll use the range poles. They're easier. But you wouldn't want to leave a range pole out on a construction site because somebody will hit it and then be gone. And the head chain is the person at the other end that's walking downrange from the start position, or the point of beginning. POB. Okay. Step 2. Hold the end of the chain and give the direction to the head chain verbally or by hand signals. You're going to have to talk to them, and you're going to have to get them to walk in a straight line so you can go where you're trying to go. Okay. The head chain person walks from the beginning point to the end point, clear any brush out of the way, kick any stuff that's going to be in the way of the tape. And you have the tape as the head person on the reel, and you're walking forward and pulling it towards the final destination. All right, rear chain. So at this point, you're telling them whether they're online or offline. So just like we did with the range poles in lab number 2, you are going to use that to identify where the person is and whether or not they need to move left or right. So hand signals here would be really good. Which probably reminds me it's time for those videos or lessons too, is hand signals. But all right, head chain. Upon reaching the end of the chain, turns and looks at the rear person and lines up and gets on line as instructed. So go left, go right, that sort of stuff. And they're lining up on the range pole and the range pole at the destination we're trying to measure to. Okay. All right, step 4. Whoever's downhill, take out a sight level and determine the proper height to plumb while measuring to ensure that the chain will be horizontal. So find out where the horizontal point is that the chain is on the uphill side. Okay. All right, number 5, rear chain. Resist the tension being pulled and yell good or mark when the end of the chain is over the point. All right. Apply the proper tension to the chain, identify the spot on the ground, and that will be the chaining pin or a hub with a nail on the surface of it. The rear chain person will usually have the scale that pulls the fish scale basically that pulls the weight on, while the head chain person has the chain clamp to give it a pull. Okay. Okay. Oh, while we're here, and it's shown really ever so carefully right here, but there's a chaining pin by the left ankle or left knee of this person here, and that's where the plumb bob's hanging down to. Okay. Put that in at a 45-degree angle so that you know where it is, but you can also get the tip of the chain there. Now, if you have 3 people in your party, the third person can set that surveying pin in at the 45 degrees. If you are a 2-person party, the person with the plumb bob will get it plumb over the point and then allow the plumb bob to sink ever so gently onto the ground, and where the tip of the plumb bob is where you're going to put the surveying pin. Okay. We'll explain all that too when we get to the labs. All right. Step 6. Um, hold at the prescribed height. Plumb if necessary, holding the 0 over the point. That's the plumb bob and the chain. And when all things are said, check the 100-foot mark and yell check. And that is to say that you are on the mark, which is probably better. Mark would be better than check because you could holler out check and say to confirm that number. So, which reminds me of an old Army joke. Field artillery officers would call for fire and drop artillery rounds where you wanted them. But if you gave the command repeat, they would fire the exact same thing again. And what you really wanted to do is fire for effect and obliterate whatever target was out there. So careful what you say. Words have meanings here. Okay. All right, step 8. Recheck the alignment and make sure the 0 is being held at that point when everything's under tension. And the same for the other person. Check the pin on the ground, checking that it was exactly at 100 feet when it's being held. Okay. Now the head person at this point is the one that's actually calling out the distance to confirm that they're 100 feet. So if we were breaking chain, maybe you only went to 50 feet. So you'd want to be careful that you did that you called 50 feet. All right, that sort of stuff. All right, step 8, rinse and repeat. Basically go through step 5 through 7 until you get the final measurements. Okay. All right. Rear chain gathers equipment, advanced to the next point. Watch the end of the chain. Call chain when the end of the chain is near the point, and move ahead to the line as the stop point is the head chain person when they've heard the yell chain. Okay. All right. Step 10. Repeat steps 2 through 9 for each additional measurement that you need to do. Step 11, measure the less than full length of chain at the end of the line. Don't forget to chain horizontally, and also the amount of tension applied should be decreased slightly when there's a smaller amount of chain out there. Okay, it doesn't take much to pull 5 feet of chain tight. 100 feet though, you got all that metal weighing something out there that's pulling it. Sorry, my headset just decided to shut down on me. All that metal out there and sagging in the middle, that would not be good. So keep that in mind as you do that. All right, 13. Hold the chain at the height horizontal to the last point marked. Resistance, yell good when the tape is over the point. Holding the determined height at the chain horizontally, apply the tension, and chain when over the end of the point to the nearest hundredths when the rear chain yells good. Okay, so 32.14 is what they're shooting for, or that's what they called out here. Okay. All right, step 14. Check the last measurement. The head chain yells out the last reading from the for the note keeper to record. The note keeper adds the hundreds of the feet to the final distance and repeats it back and checks the chain to being read. So 232.14, and the head chain person confirms 232.14 feet. Okay. All right, distance measured is the total length of the chain measured plus the reading at the head of the chain. Repeat all the steps above between two unknown points, and then basically chain your way back to the beginning to make sure you've checked your numbers again. Okay. All right. Calculation. We got forward minus back equals a discrepancy. So with the level loop, we had missed closure. This is a discrepancy. Okay. So measure forward, measure back. And we're going to take the discrepancy and divide that by the average of the two. And we're going to figure out how close you are to your measurements. So the errors that I gave you in the other lecture of today will tell you that we're looking for 1/50th if you're pacing. Okay, well, this is chaining, so we're going to be more accurate, and we want to know it fell in between those points. Okay, so we'll go over that again too in the lab, and I'll give us some assignments based on that. All right, here is a field notebook entry. This tells you what we're looking for and gives you some idea of what we're measuring as we do this. Okay, and so tape line 10 to 11, forward distance 105.65, back distance 105.91. Maybe that's 105.85 on the first reading forward distance. Mean 105.88. Discrepancy ratio 1 over 17/64, and keep on going. Okay, just do each of those as you do them. But that way you can make sure you're getting your distances right. All right, cool. That's the video on this one. I'll give you something to do here. It'd be a good idea to practice this field notebook entry on a piece of scrap field notebook paper that I got enclosed in Brightspace for you. Go ahead and do that. All right, now just to make sure, I want to know who is the third party member in this field notebook, and that'll be a question on the quiz that goes with this. Talk to you later.